So welcome back to the Discovery series and today 3 of part 2. Now yesterday we were looking at this idea of noting and labeling the experience, the nature of the experience, the nature of the feeling. Not trying to change the feeling in any way, not trying to direct the mind toward or away from the feeling, but instead to simply be present, aware of the feeling, but to have a little bit of space between us and the feeling, not identifying, not thinking of it as my feeling or I feel like this, but simply noting it objectively for the sensational feeling that it is. Now, the interesting thing is when you start to watch these feelings coming and going, you start to notice how they're not quite as permanent as they sometimes feel. It's very easy to think that we always feel a certain kind of way. But when you start to observe them with this kind of space, not identifying with them quite so strongly, then our grip on them tends to loosen. And we see how actually the flow of feelings is one of impermanence, something it's always changing, actually. And the more we see this, again, the more our grip loosens on the feeling, the less likely we are to be swept away by the feeling. So although it's quite a subtle and steady change that happens, it's an incredibly powerful change that takes place as well as our experience overtakes our intellectual understanding of feelings and emotions. So today I'd like you just to take a moment to settle the body, settle the mind, just getting comfortable in the chair. Remember, eyes open, and when you're ready, just take a couple of nice big deep breaths. And with the next exhalation, just gently closing the eyes, allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm, in and out through the nose. As you just become more aware of the body, your posture, and those physical points of contact. Aware of any sounds, and then bringing the attention back to the body, just noticing how the body's feeling right now. There's a feeling of heaviness or lightness in the body, of movement or stillness. And just so that you can get a better understanding of how the body's feeling, just taking 30 seconds or so just to scan down through all the different parts of the body. And as you become more aware of the physical feelings, at the same time starting to get a sense of what emotional feeling might be around today. So that underlying mood. And don't worry if there's nothing obvious. But if there is something that you're aware of, just acknowledging it without thinking. Remembering to take a moment just to be clear about your motivation for meditating today. Remembering the potential that this exercise can have on those people in your life. And knowing that as you turn your attention to the breath now, that ultimately there's nothing really to do here. You're simply watching the process of the body and also the process of the mind. Not trying to direct it, not trying to change it. Just simply being aware, curious and interested in what's happening in each and every moment. So with that in mind, just shifting the attention now to the breath, becoming aware of where in the body you feel that movement of breath. Noticing the rhythm of the breath. And even at this early stage, you might just very lightly, very gently note whether the feeling, the experience of the breath in the body is pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And then if you find it helpful, just beginning to count the breaths as they pass, remembering that if you do get distracted during the exercise, just to take a moment to pause, to very lightly, very gently note the nature of the experience, and then just coming back to that base of awareness, the rising and falling sensation of the breath in the body. And now just letting go of any kind of focus, just letting the mind do whatever it wants to do. And then bringing the attention back to the body, back into the physical senses, back to that sensation of the body pressing against a chair, of the soles of the feet on the floor, and of the hands and the arms just resting on the legs. Noticing any sounds, both those very close to you and those further away as well. And as you become more aware of your immediate environment, just gently opening the eyes, but just maintaining that posture. Not sitting back just yet, just being aware of the posture in which you finish your meditation. Aware of how you feel right now. And most importantly, being clear in where you're going next, what you're going to do now you've finished the meditation. Not jumping up and racing off, but instead just taking a moment to be clear in your own mind, to have that intention to carry forward the calm and clarity that you've discovered during your meditation, and actually carrying that into your everyday life. But for now, you can sit back, have a stretch, and maybe just reflect on the point that we started off on today, which is that idea of impermanence, just noticing how everything is always changing in the mind, how the experience can one moment be pleasant, the next moment unpleasant. Sometimes it seems neither one way or the other, and the feeling is quite neutral. But in noticing these, not just during the meditation, but throughout your day as well, noticing how the feelings are constantly changing. To say we start to identify a little bit less with the feeling. That means we don't cling quite so tightly to the feeling. We let go of it more easily. Of course, it's tempting to think that by letting go of pleasant feelings that we're going to be missing out on something, but it's actually quite the opposite. The more flow we allow in both the body and the mind, the more likely pleasant feelings are to come along. So it's actually a very, very positive sort of dynamic which is at play here. But we'll look at this a little bit more. I'll be back with you tomorrow for day 4. In the meantime, remember to be aware throughout your